Well, good afternoon, New Zealand. Happy New Year. Chinese New Year? Well, it is a new year for us here at Frogs on Friday. My name is Mark Smith. I am one of the directors of Frog Recruitment in New Zealand. And I'm a special guest host today because Shannon Barlow has been called away on a family matter. So we've got a jam-packed episode of Frogs for you today. We've got Mahi Media, where Shannon was actually on Breakfast TV1 and talking about the latest unemployment rate at 4%. So we'll go to that. We've got two hot jobs here in New Zealand. We've got one in the UK, and we've also got a job in Australia if you're interested in going across the ditch as well. Interestingly enough, the unemployment rate was released in Australia, I think yesterday, and 4.1%, so higher than in New Zealand at the moment, which I thought was very interesting. And of course, we're going to cross to Wellington, and we're going to have a chat to Peter Crestani, the manager of our Wellington team, and we're going to talk about what the labour market is doing in 2024 in New Zealand, and with a specific reference to Wellington. And finally, we've got this week's Twitter poll. So a lot to get through. So let's get started with Mahi Media.
So much to unravel there, and for a bit of advice on how to put a strong foot forward, Shannon Barlow from Frog Recruitment joins us now. Shannon, good morning.
Good morning.
Just tell me about what your prediction is with the unemployment figures.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is a bit of a guessing game, but I'm tipping around that 4.1 mark.
Are you seeing an increase in people seeking jobs?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's been a big rise in the number of applications that you'll get per job. So there's obviously a lot more job seekers on the market and looking, which can be a good thing as well. But yeah, more to get through at the moment.
And is it from a wide range in terms of walks of life and ages, or is there a certain demographic?
Yeah, well, I mean, we've seen this massive influx of migrants coming through, which has taken a lot of the pressure off the market, which is a good thing. But you know, just sheer numbers of people doesn't necessarily mean that our skills shortages are being covered as well. So, yeah, I think there are still some gaps in there. Which,
yeah, makes me wonder, you're talking about the skill set. What skill sets are we looking for or short on?
Well, some of the key ones, so there's shortages in construction, engineering, of course, health. So some of those key areas where you need those qualifications and that level of skill are still under a bit of pressure.
How can applicants increase their chances of getting a job?
Yeah, well, I think there's definitely been a shift. So they've probably enjoyed over the last 2.5 years or so having the luxury of having options for jobs and being in a really good position to push for benefits or improve conditions. That is starting to swing a bit, so they're more likely to be in competition. So really have to be able to showcase what they can bring to the company. And it's kind of like, I think of it back to, you know, showing your extracurriculars when you're coming out of school and trying to get your first role. So, you know, lots of employers might have been short-staffed, so you're involved in lots of different projects or groups. So to be able to show, I guess, you don't want to leave your hidden talents hidden. So really showcase those to put you in the best light and stand out.
And I guess for Kiwis, we're quite humble. We don't like to blow our own horn, so to speak. We don't want to crow about ourselves. How do you get over that?
Well, you just have to, don't you? So, yeah, we're not the best at giving ourselves a pat on the back, but, you know, for those people who will be struggling to find work and it will be a lot more challenging, you've really got to put your best foot out there and to be able to, you know, leave nothing unsaid and to be able to make it easy for your employer to go, yep, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
We're going to pick this one.
All right, well, talk to me. When I applied for this breakfast role, I was told to submit a CV. Mm-hmm. Now, it's been years since I submitted a CV, so I didn't know where to start and how much information they needed. In terms of employment, do you go back years and years, or do you just list your current 3 or the previous 2 after what you're in at? I mean, talk me through that. How do I best put my foot forward to try and get to the next stage of an interview?
Yeah, absolutely. So a good rule of thumb is you want to go back, say, the last 5 years or so, but it's all about relevance. So if there was something, if you'd gone off like a lot of people and taken a sideways move, or thought, they'd take up a passion project, but it doesn't quite fit with the rest of the things or what you're going for now, make sure you're highlighting those key work experiences that are going to impress your future employer.
And in terms of referees, do you need to list them? Do you need them on your CV?
It does make it kind of streamlines the process. So you don't have to list them. A lot of people will put references available on request, which is perfectly fine. Particularly if you're looking to change roles, you might not be in a position where you're ready to have people talking to your referees.
And final advice to our viewers who are watching now, what should they do to prepare for an interview in order to move on to the next stage?
Yeah, so I think it's really important to think about what are the things that are important to you, so that you can make sure that you're making the right move, ask some good engaging questions, but again also showcasing, making it really easy for people to see they've got the goods, they're able to do the job first of all, but what else can they bring to us as well?
Shannon Barlow, thank you for joining us this morning from Frog Recruitment.
Thanks so much.
This week in New Zealand for our first week back on Frogs on Friday. Here's the first one. It's a management accounting role in Auckland. It's a temp job or contract, paying $45 to $50 per hour. You'll be responsible for budgeting, forecasting, along with month end and reporting, some variance analysis and general stock control as well. So to be really at the front of the race for this one, you need to have 2 to 3 years experience in the FMCG space and some really strong Excel skills. Shav is the man that you need to talk to in our Auckland office. His number 93620781, or you can actually hit apply now in the comments that you can see on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and on X. All you need to do is hit apply there, and you can learn more about this particular vacancy as well. So here's the next one. And this one is also in Auckland. It's a relationship manager. It's been managed by Manish, one of our team in Auckland. It's a permanent position, $75,000 to $85,000 per annum, where you'll be responsible for proactively prospecting and acquiring new clients within the education industry within New Zealand. You need to have previous experience in B2B sales, prospecting and client engagement, and ideally within the education industry. That's really going to put you at the front of the pack for this one. Give Manish a call, 022-324-6149, or once again, you can just hit apply now by clicking on those links in Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and on X. So we do now, you may be thinking, you know what? There's a big migration through to New Zealand at the moment. I think I'm going to migrate somewhere else. And we've got a couple of jobs for you. Here's the first one, and this one is in the UK. Now, I want to point out here that our sister company, People to People in the UK, because of the relationship, then you have the opportunity to use the youth migration visa, which is, I think, under 35. You can get 3 years to work in the UK as a New Zealand citizen. So these permanent positions are on your radar, and you should check it out. People2people.co.uk if you wanted to have a look at the jobs that we've got there. But here's the specific one. It's a project manager in London, paying £45,000 to £52,000 per annum. And what you'll be responsible for is ensuring the latest information, drawing up revisions, and the status of delivery of long lead times, client-supplied kitchen equipment, bathroom equipment, etc. It'll give you a bit of an idea of what the industry is for this one. So you need to have experience within construction and a general understanding of design and the construction process. Hannah Scanlon is the consultant in our sister company's team there. hannah.scanlon@peopletopeople.co.uk. You can pick up the phone to her there. That's +44 for the UK, 738 444 2196 if you wanted to go old school and jump on the phone. Once again, just hit apply now in the links. We also have an opportunity across the ditch in Australia, and we've got a video for that one if you'd like to roll the tape. Thanks, Jacob.
We're currently recruiting for a senior HR advisor for a local Perth university located just south of the river. This is an 18-month contract working within a team, and this position is a true generalist position which focuses on employee relations and case management. This position will also include partnering with line managers to address people and culture needs, promoting and planning people activities to create a strong culture, providing practical coaching and support, and identifying and implementing improvement measures. To be considered for this position, you'll need to demonstrate a completion of a relevant degree or extensive experience in the field, high-level interpersonal skills, demonstrated leadership and initiative, and experience within the education sector, which is just desirable. If this sounds like you, please get in touch today. You can reach out to myself on 08 6160 6206 for more information about the position.
Now, there's a lot going on in the New Zealand jobs and employment market at the moment. And the one person I always talk to is Peter Crestani from the Frog Recruitment Wellington team. Good afternoon, Peter.
Hello, Mark. How are you?
I'm a little bit overweight and bald, but there's not much I can really do about that. So what I prefer to do is...
You know what I was thinking, Mark? I was thinking of bald, what was it? Bald blokes banter.
Yeah, that's it.
There's a whole lot of other B words we could have used as well, but we won't go into that.
A couple of middle-aged bald blokes talking about the jobs market in New Zealand. Well, what's going on in New Zealand? So the unemployment rate came out last week, 4%, a little bit lower than what Shannon predicted in Mahi Media. So how would you describe the jobs market?
Well, there's definitely Wellington's a bit of an aberration at the moment. The rest of the market is reasonably steady from what we can see. Wellington, because of the change of government, has been significantly impacted, and I think that's going to continue for a while. So if you want me to describe sort of like late last year, middle of last year, leading into the election, the contracting temp space did start quieting down quite a bit. Heading into the election, and this is quite normal when there's a possible change in government that's being perceived, the market sort of goes a bit quiet, and that certainly happened. Then leading into when finally the government was formed, and that last week before Christmas, the government chose to enact some laws quite quickly to stop some things happening, like the clean car rebate and other things. And they also had signalled leading up some significant changes in terms of cutting the government sector. So what that's really done is effectively put a lot of recruitment on pause in Wellington. And we're certainly seeing that at the moment. So a lot of the government agencies are trying to work out how they're going to make changes, and there's talks of cuts of 6.5% to 7.5%. So that's really significant. So there's a lot of held vacancies that would normally be in the market at the moment that are on pause. So the agencies are going, well, we're going to stop, and then we're going to evaluate what we're going to do in terms of what do we need to do to meet the savings cuts the government wants. And then there's the change in work streams as well. So what that means is that, say, a government agency might have had 20 different major programs of work, and the government is signalling to them what they're going to continue, what they're going to stop, and what's new. So, and we're still seeking clarity on that, and so that's made a really significant change. The obvious things that have changed are ones where things like Auckland Light Rail, that whole concept and project has been stopped. So those things have happened. So it's quite a challenging market. A lot more candidates in the market in Wellington at the moment. So in that shot before, Shannon talked about more candidates in the market. So it's really important as a candidate to make sure you put your best foot forward in your CV, customise it as much as you can for the role, but don't embellish it. Don't put a whole lot of hyperbole in there because it won't get you anywhere. And try to think of things that will make you stand out amongst other people. So I think we've still got some clarity in the market for the next 4 to 8 weeks until things settle down. And it is going to be a more candidate-rich market than what it has been in the past. So quite challenging in Wellington. I think Auckland and out in the regions is not impacted quite to the same degree.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Even just generally the 𝐸𝐸 statistics, giving them a plug, but because I know the numbers off the top of my head, it's 120 responses per ad at the moment, and the standard, the average over all time for 𝐸𝐸 since it actually started was 104. So it's 20% higher than normal in terms of the number of responses, and even some sectors which are being hurting. Like technology, for example, they're up to something like 250, the number of responses per ad. So we've got a couple of comments coming through on LinkedIn that we can possibly answer those questions. Here's the first one, and that's from Sophia. She says, is now a good time for people to begin the job search or should they wait?
I would be looking and identify what you really want to do and the value you can add to an employer as well. So I don't think this will be a market where if you're at a certain level and you're looking for a step up, unless there's something you can really demonstrate why someone would take that risk. But I think it's going to be, I'd be patient, but then move quickly. So if you see something, keep looking. If you see something, really apply quickly, but make sure you spend the time on that package that you're going to send to the employer or to the recruiter.
Yeah, there's certainly, I mean, my view on that is that, like, it's not as if there's no jobs out there.
Right.
There's still, it's a competitive marketplace, and applying for a job or searching is not actually taking the job. So I would encourage everybody to keep an eye out there. Here's another one from Scott Bannister who says, do you forecast any particular industries that will boom this year?
I think the medical side, nurses, doctors, that will still keep going. I think technology will pick up again, and particularly outside of Wellington at the moment. It depends where the money is going to go. I think technology, if you're in the right state, there's a lot of talk around AI at the moment, and I think there's a lot of hype about it. So I think that's an area we need to be aware of. Gaming, I think, in New Zealand's a $1 billion business, and that's something, if you're into that side of things, to be looking at. So I think they will still continue being strong.
If I put my 2 cents worth in, Scott, it would be technology with cybersecurity, the housing crisis as well, construction, very much going. There are shortages across there, not just in the supply chains, but just inside of actually building the buildings that we need, or the houses that we need as well. Okay, and the last thing I wanted to ask you, Peter, because I'm conscious of time, is there's this term that I've seen thrown around called flexitors. Now, these are people who are going to leave their job because they're not getting the flexibility that they're after, apparently. Have you seen anything like that? Well, let me ask you this question. Have you had anybody come into Frog in Wellington in the last 12 months saying, you know what, I want to work 5 days a week from the office?
Not in the office, or in the office?
Not in the, I want to work 5 days a week in the office. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay. Generally not. There's most candidates are open to or would like some flexibility. We've got some candidates that want to work completely remotely, and that is a challenge to find them something, because often the clients might have an anchor day. It might be a Wednesday, and they want everyone in the office there. On the other side of it, it depends, because some clients don't have enough desks now because of flexibility. If everyone turned up, they wouldn't be able to house everyone, and sort of first in, first served. So, but certainly flexibility would be virtually 99% of our candidates would want some flexibility.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if people are going to leave their jobs if they don't get that. All right, it's been fascinating. Thank you very much, Peter, for joining us on Frogs on Friday. I'm sure we'll see you again with Shannon when she's back in the next little while. But thanks for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Okay, let's move on. We've got this week's Twitter poll. Twitter, it's the X poll, Mark. I've got to get that right. Maybe that's me being a little bit middle-aged and can't come to terms with change. But here it is. Given the current market, do you think now is a good time to look for a new job? Yes, I'm looking now. No, I'm waiting. You can vote on all the channels here. LinkedIn and X is the place that you'll find it most. We'd love to hear your opinion. Hashtag Frogs on Friday if you'd like to see the results of our previous polls as well. Okay, that's it, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us for the first of our weekly sessions for Frogs on Friday this year in 2024. Hopefully, Shannon will be back with us next week, and we'll see you then.